Harley just dropped a bombshell, the new $11,000 Road Glide. It's fast, furious, and unlike anything they've built before, Indians on the ropes. But here's the twist. With sky-high pricing and ultra-limited production, is this Harley's biggest flex ever, or the moment they abandoned real riders for good? Here's the real story. What's happening? When Harley Davidson pulled the covers off the new 2025 CVO Road Glide, the motorcycle world froze. Not because of the performance specs, not even because of the design, but because of the price. $11,000. For decades, Harley had been slowly nudging their prices upward, but this was something else entirely. This wasn't a tweak to the sticker. This was a declaration of war on every expectation riders had about what a Harley Davidson should cost and what it should be. But the sticker shock was just the beginning. The moment the spec sheet dropped, the real frenzy started. People expected a nice touring cruiser, maybe a few premium flourishes. What they got instead was a race-inspired, ultra-limited, technologically loaded monster. This wasn't just another Road Glide with some extra chrome and a leather upgrade. It was a complete reinvention of what a touring Harley could be. And then the exclusivity hammer dropped. Only 131 units would be made, worldwide. That instantly transformed the Road Glide CVO from a luxury purchase into a collector's obsession. Demand surged. Dealers were caught off guard. Reservation lists ballooned overnight. And just like that, the $11,000 price tag didn't seem outrageous anymore. It seemed like a steal for what might be the most audacious Harley Davidson ever built. Yet for all the hype, for all the screaming headlines, one question lingered underneath it all. Was this bike actually worth it? Did it deliver more than just flash and exclusivity? Could it live up to the legend Harley was trying to create? That question wouldn't be answered with numbers or press releases. It would be answered in steel, torque, and asphalt. Because under the carbon and titanium, this bike was built to move. And to understand just how far Harley had come with this bike, you had to take a closer look at what was actually under the fairing. But before we go any further, if you're into deep dives like this that cut through the noise, hit the subscribe button. A bagger built for battle. There was a time not long ago when the phrase Harley Davidson racing sounded like a joke, a cultural relic, something rooted in barstool nostalgia, not racetrack reality. But those days are gone. And the 2020 Road Glide CVO is the ultimate proof. The first thing they did was go after the suspension. Out went the traditional soft ride setup designed for highways and rallies. In came a fully adjustable racing-grade Öhlins suspension system, front and rear, not just for show. This setup allowed riders to dial in preload, damping, and rebound with surgical precision. Cornering on a Harley? That was no longer an oxymoron, it was a design feature. Then came the bodywork. The Road Glide CVO ditched the steel and heavy plastics of yesterday for lightweight, aerodynamically sculpted carbon fiber. Every square inch was designed with drag reduction and high-speed stability in mind. The fairing cuts through wind like a blade. The saddlebags are contoured for minimal resistance. And the weight savings are not theoretical. They're real, and they matter when you're pushing 3-digit speeds. Even the ergonomics were flipped. Foot controls moved from the classic forward touring setup to mid-mounted race-style positioning. The result? A more aggressive rider stance, tighter control in corners, and better feedback through the frame. This wasn't a lazy boy road sofa, it was a predator. And then there was the titanium. The Akrapovic titanium exhaust isn't just a performance upgrade, it's a declaration. With improved airflow, reduced weight, and a throat-ripping exhaust note, the system takes the Road Glide from quiet elegance to ferocious roar. It sounds like a race bike, because in truth, that's what it is. The 2025 Road Glide CVO is what happens when Harley engineers stop thinking about rallies and start thinking about podiums. But to power a machine like this, you need an engine that can do more than just rumble. You need an engine that can roar. American muscle, Reinvented. At the heart of the 2025 Road Glide CVO lies a monster, a 131 cubic inch Screamin' Eagle V-twin. That is 2,147 cubic centimeters of pure, raw, fire-breathing torque. It is the most powerful engine Harley Davidson has ever stuffed into a touring frame. And it is not just about numbers, it is about intent. This engine was not designed to cruise. It was not built for comfort. It was born to dominate. It delivers explosive low-end torque, blistering mid-range power, and top-end performance that leaves traditional baggers gasping in its wake, every twist of the throttle feels like a punch to the chest. It launches off the line like a dragster and keeps pulling through the gears with a relentless fury. But it is not just a brute, it is refined. The Milwaukee 8 architecture has been pushed to its limit with revised cam timing, upgraded heads, and high-flow intakes. It breathes better, it runs cooler, and it delivers power more efficiently than any previous Screamin' Eagle. But even a powerhouse like this needs the right skeleton, and that brings us to the material that ties it all together, a material that might just redefine what a Harley is made of: the Kevlar-Carbon Revolution. Harley Davidson has always been a company of steel and swagger. Chrome was king, weight was muscle, but the 2025 Road Glide CVO marks a revolution, because for the first time ever, Harley's flagship machine is made of carbon fiber, and not just any carbon. Kevlar reinforced carbon. This is not a gimmick. It is not a luxury gimmick for showboating collectors. This is racing-grade material science applied with purpose. The fairing, side panels, saddlebags, and even the inner structure have all been reimagined using ultra-lightweight composites. The result is a bike that is stiffer, lighter, and more agile than anything Harley has ever produced. Kevlar reinforcement adds another layer of shock resistance and durability, making this bike not just a high-performance machine, but a resilient one. In a world where speed matters, but survivability matters more, Harley has done something no other American manufacturer has dared. It changes how the bike rides. Less weight means quicker transitions, faster acceleration, and sharper braking. It also changes how it feels. The Road Glide CVO is responsive in a way older Harleys never could be. It is not sluggish, it does not wallow in corners, it dances. This shift to advanced materials signals a much larger transformation. Harley is no longer content to be the king of retro. They are staking a claim in the future, and with Kevlar carbon bodywork, they are doing it on their own terms. The next big question, however, is not what Harley built. It is why. What are they trying to prove? And who exactly are they building this for? A bike built for the 1%. There was a time when Harley riders saw themselves as a tribe, a mix of outlaws, misfits, and hardworking Americans bound by a common love for the open road. Today, that tribe is being fractured. Owning a Harley used to be a symbol of rugged independence. Now it's becoming a symbol of luxury and exclusivity. And that change is alienating the very people who made Harley what it is. When a motorcycle costs more than a pickup truck, it stops being transportation and starts being a trophy. And while some brands thrive on that kind of prestige, Harley never used to be one of them. The Road Glide CVO changes that. It sends a crystal clear message that Harley is no longer building bikes for everyone. They're building them for the few. And that few isn't even necessarily loyal to the brand. Many high-end CVO buyers are not die-hard Harley riders. They're collectors, investors, people who might not even put 1,000 miles on the bike before parking it in a temperature-controlled garage. Meanwhile, the riders who actually rack up miles, who take their Harleys on cross-country rides and wrench them in their garages, are left with outdated models and shrinking dealership support. This isn't just about price. It's about purpose. Harley has always been more than motorcycles. It's been about identity, and when identity is replaced by exclusivity, the soul of the brand begins to rot. This shift toward the 1% isn't just risky, it's corrosive. It risks turning Harley into the very thing it was created to rebel against. But the alienation isn't just economic or social, it's philosophical. Harley isn't just raising prices, they're changing their very idea of what a Harley is. That divide is now echoing into every corner of the business, especially the ones that connect directly with customers. Dealers left in the dust. Walk into a Harley dealership today and you might notice something strange. The bikes on the floor are gleaming, high-priced machines loaded with tech, carbon fiber, and racing DNA. But the customers? They're quieter, fewer in number, and often frustrated. That's because Harley's pivot to luxury has left its dealer network confused, strained, and dangerously out of sync with the riders who built their business. Dealerships are the front lines of the brand. They are the places where culture, community, and commerce collide. But now Harley dealers are being asked to sell motorcycles that feel completely alien to their customer base. These aren't the bar-hopping Sportsters or mid-range Dynas of a decade ago. They're six-figure race machines aimed at customers who may never walk through the door. This mismatch is already showing cracks. Sales staff struggle to pitch ultra-premium models to customers used to customizing their bikes piece by piece. Service departments are being retooled to handle tech-heavy machines that require more diagnostics than wrenching. And parts departments, once the heart of Harley's customization culture, are seeing less demand as CVO buyers opt to keep their bikes stock for resale value. Worse yet, many dealers are being pressured to upscale their showrooms and service areas, investments that come with massive costs. And those costs are not being offset by sales volume, because Harley's new target demographic doesn't shop like traditional riders. They don't hang out in the shop, they don't come in for patches or oil filters, they buy once and then they disappear. This new sales model is leaving longtime dealers in the dust. Some are closing, others are cutting back, and many are voicing the same concern. If Harley continues down this road, they won't just lose customers. They'll lose their entire dealer network. From the factory floor to the showroom floor, Harley's new direction is shaking the foundation of everything that made the brand great, and the consequences are beginning to show up in real-world numbers and broken community ties. Now the question becomes, can Harley afford to keep ignoring the riders and retailers who built their empire in the first place? The Indian Challenger Elite stumbles. On paper, the Indian Challenger Elite looks like a serious threat. It boasts a liquid-cooled 1,768 cubic centimeter Power Plus V-twin engine pushing out 122 horsepower and 128 pound-feet of torque. That is more than enough to keep pace with any heavyweight cruiser on the market. Add to that its fairing-mounted infotainment system, plush seating, and premium ride modes, and the Challenger Elite seems designed to knock Harley off its throne. But here is the problem. When it comes to crushing the competition, paper specs mean nothing if the soul is missing. Indian's flagship still cannot dethrone the CVO Road Glide because it fundamentally misunderstands what Harley riders crave. Sure, Indian has performance, but Harley's new CVO Road Glide R is not just about specs. It is about prestige, identity, and raw road presence. The Indian Challenger Elite may handle corners with more grace and accelerate with fluid power delivery, but it lacks the visceral thunder, the brutal muscle, and the iconic profile that makes a Harley a Harley. It feels like a premium product. The CVO feels like an icon. The difference goes deeper than just brand perception. The Harley Davidson Road Glide CVO is infused with real racing heritage and exclusivity. Its Kevlar-reinforced carbon fiber body, Olin suspension, and Akrapovic titanium exhaust system scream innovation and pedigree. Meanwhile, the Challenger Elite uses cast aluminum, basic dampers, and lacks the obsessive detail Harley has baked into every inch of the CVO. It is not that the Indian is bad, it is that it is simply outclassed. And while the Challenger Elite might be available at more dealerships and come with a more modern feel, it also comes off as more disposable. It does not carry the weight of generational loyalty or inspire the same collector obsession. Indian took a swing at the crown, but Harley didn't just defend it. They shattered the entire throne room. Still, the threat from Indian was only the beginning. Across the ocean, German engineering was sharpening its blade. BMW's high-tech Blitz fails to impress. When BMW introduced the K1600B, the entire motorcycle industry paused for a moment. Here was a bagger that broke the mold. An inline-six engine with 160 horsepower and 132 pound-feet of torque, mated to cutting-edge tech like dynamic suspension adjustment, hill start control, reverse assist, and heated everything. In terms of raw sophistication, the K1600B was a revelation. It brought car-like comfort and German precision to a segment long ruled by brute force and Americana. But as polished as it is, the K1600B never became the cult cultural touchstone BMW hoped it would be. Why? Because no matter how refined, no matter how fast, the machine lacks emotional gravity. It rides like a surgical instrument, smooth, perfect, and utterly forgettable. There is no pulse. There is no soul. You ride it, you admire it, and you move on. There is no identity stitched into its leather.
Harley's CVO Road Glide, by contrast, grabs you by the collar and demands you feel something. Its thundering V-twin engine might lose the numbers race, but it wins the experience war. Its carbon fiber bodywork is not just a technical marvel, it is a statement. You do not buy a CVO just to get from point A to point B. You buy it to make an entrance, to plant a flag, to carve your presence into the road itself. BMW has the numbers, the tech, and the comfort, but it lacks one thing Harley has always delivered: attitude. And in the bagger segment, attitude is currency. Even when pitted against the refined opulence of BMW, Harley still manages to stand taller, louder, and bolder. But another challenge lurks, this time from the east. Honda's Goldwing versus Harley's Gold Standard. Honda's Goldwing is the undisputed king of long-distance touring. Its 1,833 cubic centimeter flat-six engine is engineering perfection. Its dual-clutch transmission offers seamless shifting. Its tech package includes Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, GPS navigation, and automatic preload adjustment. From a comfort standpoint, the Goldwing is unbeatable. And yet, it still loses to the Road Glide CVO. Why? Because the Goldwing is built to disappear beneath you. It is a marvel of smoothness and efficiency. But in doing so, it erases something critical to the motorcycling experience: the connection. You do not ride the Goldwing, you glide on it. And that detachment, that perfect quiet comfort, comes at the cost of emotion. The Road Glide CVO delivers an entirely different experience. Its Milwaukee 8 Screamin' Eagle 131 engine roars. The titanium exhaust snarls. The mid-mounted foot controls and Öhlins suspension beg you to attack every twist in the road. It is not a magic carpet ride. It is a storm. It makes you feel alive. Moreover, the Goldwing is mass-produced. You can find one at virtually any dealership. The CVO Road Glide, only 131 will ever exist. That kind of scarcity matters. It turns ownership into a badge of honor. It is the difference between buying transportation and joining an elite legacy. In a fair fight, the Goldwing should win. But motorcycling has never been fair. It has always been personal, and no amount of refinement can replace the feeling of riding something rare, loud, and unforgettable. As Japanese precision steps back, Harley's true power begins to show, not just in performance or design, but in myth. The CVO gamble, masterpiece or mistake. From the moment Harley Davidson announced only 131 units of the 2025 CVO Road Glide would be built, collectors began circling like vultures. This was no ordinary bike. It was carbon-wrapped, titanium-screaming, Öhlins-tuned motorcycle mythology forged into steel. In the world of Harley Davidson, rarity is more than a marketing angle. It's a call to arms. And this bike answered it with thunder. Everything about the CVO Road Glide was engineered to be legendary. It wasn't just about the Screamin' Eagle 131 engine or the Kevlar-infused carbon fiber bodywork. It was the fusion of old-school muscle and cutting-edge tech that made the CVO something more. A rolling relic, a mechanical Mona Lisa for the open road. Past CVO models like the 2009 Road Glide or the 2014 Breakout have already become sought-after classics, some appreciating as much as 50% over their original price tags. That history created a fever pitch of anticipation. If those older models became gold mines, then surely this new crown jewel, more powerful, more limited, more outrageous, was destined to be the next big score. But for every collector's dream, there's a harsh economic reality lurking under the paint. Because in the motorcycle world, scarcity doesn't always equal value. For every CVO that appreciates, a dozen gather dust, unsold or resold for pennies on the dollar. And that's where the gamble begins. The moment the CVO Road Glide hit the market, it wasn't just bought, it was banked on.
high net worth buyers weren't planning road trips, they were planning portfolio additions. Many of these bikes will never see a twisty road, a bug-splattered windshield, or a mile marker on Route 66. Instead, they'll sit idle in climate-controlled garages, pampered and pristine, while their owners wait for the value to rise. But when everyone is doing that, treating the bike as an investment instead of an experience, the magic starts to fade. Because real collectability isn't just about low mileage, it's about myth, about story, about culture. And when a bike becomes a commodity before it becomes a legend, it risks becoming irrelevant. Just another overpriced toy that no one remembers or reveres. If future generations don't care about bagger racing, V-twins, or the Harley aesthetic of the 2020s, then no amount of titanium or exclusivity will save its value. It'll be a fossil in a world that's moved on. Worse still, the collector's market is notoriously fickle. Tastes shift, markets crash, technology leaps forward. What's hot today becomes ice cold tomorrow. And with the rise of electric motorcycles and an entirely new generation of riders raised on silence, sustainability, and software, Harley's gasoline-fueled icons might not hold the same weight 10 years down the road. The CVO Road Glide could be the crown jewel of Harley's rebirth. Or it could be a monument to the moment they flew too close to the sun. In short, the CVO Road Glide could become the crown jewel of Harley Davidson's modern legacy. Or it could be the overpriced bet that proves the market has moved on. And speaking of market shifts, nothing has thrown Harley into uncharted waters quite like its push into electric motorcycles. Electric dreams, gasoline nightmares. While the CVO Road Glide screams thunder and torque, Harley Davidson is also quietly trying to reinvent itself as a leader in electric mobility. The Livewire was supposed to be the company's future, a fully electric, high-performance motorcycle aimed at younger, eco-conscious riders. But that future has turned into a logistical and cultural nightmare. The contrast between the Livewire and the CVO Road Glide could not be more extreme. One is a stripped-down electric rocket designed for urban speed and green credentials. The other is a fire-breathing V-twin monster designed to echo with the thunder of Harley's past. These are two radically different visions of Harley Davidson's future, and right now, they are colliding. The Livewire project has struggled on nearly every front. Early adopters complained about the price, the limited range, and the lack of charging infrastructure. Priced at nearly $30,000, the Livewire was far more expensive than competing electric bikes from Zero or Energica. Its range, barely over 100 miles in real-world conditions, made it impractical for anything more than a short urban commute. Worst of all, it just did not feel like a Harley. No roar, no rumble, no rebellion. That is why the CVO Road Glide matters so much. It is Harley's way of reminding the world that it can still build the kind of motorcycles that make your bones shake and your heart race. But it also reveals Harley's existential crisis. Caught between two markets, tech-savvy urbanites and old-school road warriors, Harley is trying to serve both and satisfying neither. Even worse, the push toward electric bikes is happening before the technology is ready. Charging times remain long. Infrastructure is inconsistent. Battery performance suffers in cold weather, and traditional Harley riders simply do not trust electric powertrains to survive long-haul road trips. When your brand is built on cross-country freedom, range anxiety is not just a feature issue, it is a cultural deal-breaker. Until electric motorcycles can match the reliability, character, and serviceability of gas-powered machines, Harley is playing a dangerous game. The CVO Road Glide is a masterpiece of modern engineering, but it is also a love letter to an era that might be ending. And that sets up the ultimate question. Is this bike Harley's rebirth or its final stand? Has Harley gone too far or just far enough? So here we are, the most powerful Harley Davidson touring bike ever made, the most exclusive production run in modern Harley history, the most aggressive departure from the brand's classic identity, and the most polarizing motorcycle the company has released in over a decade. Has Harley gone too far or has it gone just far enough? The 2025 CVO Road Glide is, without question, a marvel. It is a performance-driven, race-inspired, carbon fiber-wrapped testament to everything Harley Davidson is capable of when it stops playing it safe. It tells the world that Harley is not just about nostalgia anymore, it is about innovation, competition, and unapologetic American engineering. This is a motorcycle that does not just keep up with its rivals, it humiliates them. But there is a price to pay for progress, and it is not just financial. In chasing performance and exclusivity, Harley risks turning its back on the riders who gave the brand its soul. The blue-collar mechanics, the weekend rebels, the first-timers who scrape together enough to buy a used Sportster. If these people no longer see themselves in Harley's future, then the CVO Road Glide's engineering brilliance will be for nothing. This is not just a bike. It is a line in the sand, one that divides Harley Davidson's past from its possible future. On one side, thunderous engines, chrome dreams, and the open road. On the other, carbon fiber, digital dashboards, and six-figure price tags. The CVO Road Glide is both a celebration and a challenge, a bold new direction that demands bold new riders. The next chapter of Harley Davidson will be written not just in sales numbers, but in culture. Will the company reconnect with its roots while continuing to evolve? Will it find a way to make innovation affordable again? Or will it fade into a brand for collectors while the soul of motorcycling passes to someone else? For now, all we know is this: Harley did not play it safe, and in this industry, that just might be the riskiest move of all. What do you think? Masterpiece or massive mistake? Drop your take in the comments and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.